to 6, a helping hand with your land.
Hi, I'm Brian Messick with Messick Farm Equipment. Today we're going to look at rake tine arms, comparing the Krone hay rake with the rest of the industry. So right here, as you can see, I'm holding a Krone rake tine arm. And we're just going to start at the top and work our way down and go over what the different parts are. So at the top we have our bearing. This follows in the cam track of the rake as it circles around and rakes the hay. Next we come up is the tine support. This bolts onto the rake, it bolts onto the rotor itself. And in here you have two bearings, a top bearing and a bottom bearing that lets this pivot. That's important, and look at the size of it. As we come down through, we have the rake tine itself. Very thick steel, it's a round bar, roll pin together. As we come the rest of the way down, this one will unpin and fold up for a narrow transport. So you're not actually taking it off the rake, you're just going to unpin it and fold it up. And as we continue down the last, we're going to look at the rake teeth. Krone's rake teeth have a little hook bend in them that helps the hay ride up the rake tooth and keeps the hay up off the ground. And you also see they coil theirs around the tine arm and bolt them fast. And that way, if you were to ever break one, it will stay on the rake and not wind up in your windrow and get bailed up in your baler. So now that we know what the parts are, we're going to look at what the competition has. Okay, so we have here a Kuhn tine arm from their rotary rake. So as we look at the bearing. We look how small this bearing is in comparison to the Krone. Secondly, as we come back, their tine support might be a third of the size of what a Krone is. As we come down through, we look at the tine arm. Much thinner, much smaller diameter pipe than what the Krone is. And as we work our way down, our teeth. The teeth here are bolted to the rake with a clip versus being around the tube. This does not give the rake any spring on the teeth as much, and also if you are to break one, they will fall off and wind up right in your hay. And if you look at the teeth, there is just a straight bar and a bend at the top. That's going to cause the hay to drag across the ground and not be lifted up as it's being raked into your windrow. Next we have a Kubota tine arm. We sell these, so we're just going to point out the differences. If you look, the tube of the tine arm is a much smaller diameter, a much thinner pipe here, so not quite as strong. They unpin their rake and pull the whole tine arm out. That can get rusted fast and seize up over time versus just folding it. As we work our way down, the teeth are wrapped around the tine arm, which is a good thing, but the teeth themselves are much thinner steel than the Krone is. And again, they do have a little bend here at the bottom that does help lift the hay up, but again, a much thinner teeth won't last nearly as long and doesn't perform as well in heavy crop. Here we have a Klouse rake. I'm going to start again. We look at the bearing, about half the size of what the Krone bearing is. Their support, though not here, is much smaller, about the size of what the Kuhn was. As we come down, they have a round tine arm, good, but not nearly as thick and not nearly as heavy as what the Krone is. As you work your way down the teeth, they have no way to fold up or remove this tine arm. It is rigid the whole way. They do coil their teeth around the pipe, which is good. It does help for rigidity, but if you look at the teeth themselves, they are about 2/3 the size of what the Krone is. So not nearly as strong as the Krone, much weaker. They're going to spring back in heavy crop. And again, they do not have a bend at the bottom, just one in the middle to help pick the hay up. So the hay will drag across the ground and not ride up on the teeth like the Krone. We just have a tine arm here from a Pottinger rake, but if you look at it, very thin-walled steel. The teeth themselves, they are wrapped around and pinned, but they only coil around twice versus the Krone. Much thinner steel, and they just run a straight bar that acts to just dragging the hay. So very poor performance, and you will get a lot of ash and dirt content in your hay with this type of tooth on a rake. So here we have the Pecway tine arm. We'll start at the top. Again, we have the bearing up here. It's smaller than what the Krone bearing is, about half the size. It is also held on by a snap ring. It is not pressed on. So that snap ring can break and that bearing will let loose and the tine arm will basically be flopping around on your cam track, run the risk of busting your cam track. As we come down through, we don't have the holder in place here, but again, it's about half the size of what the Krone rake is, and it's also running in a sealed cast gearbox as well. As we come down, they will unpin their tine arm from the shaft that's coming out. Again, it will give you narrower transport, but you do run the risk of this seizing fast over the time and you won't be able to get it off. They do have a nice big heavy pipe. We like that. Their teeth, they are bolting their teeth to the tine arm. They are not wrapping it around. So again, not nearly as strong, doesn't give you the coil as you need. Their tooth is just a constant bend. It doesn't help lift the hay up quite as well as the Krone, so that's another thing. Teeth themselves, again, very thin steel, not nearly as thick as what the Krone is. So for durability, especially in heavy, heavy windrows, you're going to have some performance issues. So to summarize here what we have, again, we have our Krone tine arm, which is the biggest, most massive tine arm in the industry. The best hay rake out there that we feel for our dollars, what we pay for it. We do sell multiple other brands, and there is a place in the market for them. Depending on your application, how much hay you're making, what type of hay you're making, things like that. So there is other applications for other rakes, but we just wanted to show you the difference in a Krone rake and what the rest of the industry has to offer. If you have any questions on any of the products you saw here today, please visit us at messics.com or give us a call at 1-800-222-3373. Thank you.